Today we'll be talking about how climate change and plastic pollution affect loggerhead turtles. I am Aki, welcome to the Blue Marble News Watch. Imagine being a hungry sea turtle in the ocean. Which one would you choose? Plastic bag or jellyfish? As you can see, it's pretty confusing if you go with your instincts. You have big hunger and you think there is tasty jellyfish in front of you and it happens to be a plastic bag that fooled you. But there is some new studies that show that it's not maybe only the looks of the plastic bag that might fool these ocean turtles, because sea turtles may confuse the smell of ocean plastic with food. And this news is from sciencenews.org, and it says here, to sea turtle, plastic debris might smell like dinner. Plastic that's been stewing in the ocean emits a chemical that to some seabirds and fish smells a lot like food. That chemical gas, dimethyl sulfide, is also produced by phytoplankton, a key food source for many marine animals. Now, scientists have determined that loggerhead sea turtles may also confuse the smell of plastic with food, according to study published March 9th in Current Biology. Over 2 weeks in January 2019, 15 captive loggerheads in tanks were exposed at the water surface to a slew of scent, including the largely neutral scent of water as a control, of food such as shrimp, and of new and ocean-soaked plastic. Sea turtles, Caretta, largely ignored smell of water and clean plastic. But when the scientists puffed air containing scent of either food or ocean-stewed plastic, the reptiles increased their sniffing above water, a typical foraging behavior. So, this is very interesting study showing that it's only the looks of the plastic bag, but actually it is the smell that fools the sea turtles. We will shortly continue with sea turtles and how climate change affects these marvelous animals. But before that, we will take a closer look to this week's Twitter news. You can find Blue Marble News Watch also on Twitter. So please subscribe at Marble News. And here are some news topics that I found during last week that are involved with the microplastics and climate change. And we start with this very interesting beetle larvae that can survive on polyester alone. This was tweeted by Microplastic News, and there has been study that have found this kind of beetle larvae being able to eat plastic. And here is also another by EcoWatch, a very hungry caterpillar. Can plastic wars help humanity worm its way out of plastic pollution? Biologists at Canada Brandon University are researching solution to microplastics. I guess there will be some news watch in the future where I will cover this topic more closely. And here, because of coronavirus, new kind of marine debris, thousands of used and abandoned coronavirus masks found in Hong Kong beaches. Come on people, if you are infected using these, please think how you vanish these debris. Don't throw it to the ocean. But I can understand if there is a strong fever in your head, you might not think very rationally. Okay, let's continue. WWF Finland reminds Finnish people that there will be Earth Hour again on 28th of March, when everybody can participate by turning off the lights and not using any electricity. And here is some interesting tweet from UN Climate Change showing how much Antarctica is losing ice mass. It says it's like 145 gigatons per year, and And this animation shows us little scale how big of an ice cube it is. And here it is compared to New York, and you can see it's amazing. Next we're gonna fly to Cape Verde, Boa Vista Island, and our news is about the warming climate is making baby sea turtles almost all girls. And here is a marine biologist helping newborn sea turtle reach the sea on Cape Verde's Boa Vista Island. Boa Vista, Cape Verde. She emerged from the ocean just before midnight, clambering up the shore as her ancestors have for 200 million years. Only stars glowed on his remote beach, where the sea turtle arrived to lay her eggs. She dodged plastic, fishing nets and oil spills to get this far, but another threat to her species lurk in the ground: sand temperatures that foster only one gender. So the problem with sea turtle is by the climate change that the sand is getting too warm, and the temperature of the sand is the one that affects which gender the offsprings are. So if the sand is below 81.86 Fahrenheit, meaning 27.7 Celsius, all the offsprings will be males. Mid-80s Fahrenheit would be mix of both genders, which is 29.1 Celsius, and higher than 87.8 degrees Fahrenheit will produce only females, which is over 30 Celsius. Here you can see a sea turtle laying her eggs on a remote beach, and credits for the photos and videos go Daniel Bacuette. The last video here shows a sea turtle returning to the sea after laying her eggs and covering them with sand to protect them from predatory crabs in Cape Verde. The last picture is showing a group of hatchlings crawl toward the sea in a remote edge of Boa Vista. And this is also very dangerous trip for the hatchlings. Only 1 out of 100 will survive to the ocean. They are using moonlight reflecting from the ocean surface as a guide to guide them towards the ocean. If there is a town on the other side of the ocean with the disco lights flashing, then these offsprings will end up being in the disco and not in the sea. Now we're gonna fly from Boa Vista to the Milman Island in Australia to see if there is any way to cool the sand. And here is article from Yle Finland how they have tried to shade the beaches and even make them wet with the cool water. There have been good results, especially from using cool water. It seems like the shades are working not so well, but if you keep the sand wet, it's much more effective. WWF Ocean Pro Anna Soirinsuo is saying here. And here you can see picture by Veronica Joseph, WWF Australia's picture about volunteers wetting the sand on these beaches. This would help offsprings to be more mixed gender, not only females. Now let's fly from Milman Islet to Zakynthos, Greece, where there is this Mediterranean population of these sea turtles. And here is an article from The Guardian. Will turtles and tourism always be at loggerheads? Zakynthos has some fascinating wildlife, but the Greek island biggest stars, its loggerhead turtles, are under pressure, partly because of their popularity. And this article is covering the effects of tourism to this loggerhead population. And here is some information about those too. I will leave the links to description to these articles that I cover up here. The Mediterranean loggerhead population is estimated to be in the low thousands, with 50 to 70% of the total number visiting the southern and sheltered eastern side of Zakynthos to mate and lay eggs. Roughly 1,300 nests are recorded each year, each containing from 100 to 120 eggs. Yet only 1 in 100 or so will survive to adulthood. Turtles worldwide face multiple threats to their survival. From direct hunting and international trade, despite protection from the Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, to entanglement in fishing nets and longline fishing hooks. In the Mediterranean, and indeed in many other places around the world, not only do local economies benefit directly from turtle-human interactions, but so does the wider environment, and ultimately so do communities reliant on the fishing industry. And here is some video from Zakynthos, where if you talk about the tourism can be good or bad. The bad thing is the interruption on the nesting beaches. But every evening after 9 p.m. beaches were emptied from tourists to give space and privacy for mother turtles to come to lay their eggs. The positive side is that local people get income and work with tourism, and tourists get to know these marvelous animals and might wake up to the conservation of these beautiful loggerhead turtles. And here you can see some video from the Zante Laganas beach. Well, I would say the boat driver of this boat knew very well these turtles, and he had very much information about these, and I'm sure all the tourists on the boat learned a lot from these, and he made sure that tourists didn't interrupt these turtles too much. And I guess it's also important for all these people who are working with the turtles that they are doing well there on their mating beach. So our animal of the week this week is loggerhead turtle. The loggerhead sea turtle Caretta, also commonly called Caretta, is a species of oceanic turtle distributed throughout the world. It is a marine reptile belonging to the family Chelonidae. The average loggerhead measures around 90 centimeters, 35 inches in carapace length when fully grown. The adult loggerhead sea turtle weighs approximately 135 kilograms, which is 298 pounds, with the largest specimen weight in more than 450 kilograms, 1,000 pounds. The loggerhead sea turtle is found in the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Ocean, as well as the Mediterranean Sea. It spends most of its life in saltwater and estuarine habitats, with females briefly coming ashore to lay eggs. The loggerhead sea turtle has a low reproductive rate. Females lay an average of 4 egg clutches and then become quiescent, producing no eggs for 2 to 3 years. The loggerhead reaches sexual maturity within 17 to 33 years and has a lifespan of 47 to 67 years. The loggerhead sea turtle is omnivorous, feeding mainly on bottom-dwelling invertebrates. Its large and powerful jaws serve as an effective tool for dismantling its prey. Young loggerheads are exploited by numerous predators. The eggs are especially vulnerable to terrestrial organisms. Once the turtle reaches adulthood, their formidable size limits predation to large marine animals such as sharks. The loggerhead sea turtle is considered a vulnerable species. And here you can see this one of the most famous from the Zakynthos. If I remember correctly, she was called Emma. So if you like these loggerhead turtles of Zante and think that conservation of these species is important, please subscribe, click on the bell and push like. So you won't miss any of my new videos about these marvelous animals of our blue marble. Thank you for watching and see you next week again. Bye!